artistry world. She goes by Sydney Bailey, but in our hearts, she's Bailey. And we're excited to have her sing tonight. It's a song that's very dear to her heart. She wrote it, and she's recorded it, and you can buy it in a single CD. And so I'm going to turn it over to Miss Sydney Bailey.
Actually, this song is a tribute song for a lady. She's like one of my mentors, and her daughter passed away at like the age of 24, 6 years ago. And so I wrote a tribute song for the loss of her daughter. It's called Black Butterfly. I'm trying not to hurt you.
Her style, her smile, willing to run the extra mile, was a dancer with goals, dreams of success. Very much talented, people are easily impressed. An angel in disguise, but it wasn't a surprise. Thinking of you when I watch the sunrise, I see you standing there right before my eyes. Beautiness flies you like the blue sky. You're a black butterfly, a black butterfly. Why did you go and leave me? Why did you have to die? Lovely black butterfly, you must believe. I never thought that you would leave. Amazing all the things you achieved. I never doubted you, I always believed. Your mama said 'cause you went away. She cries her heart out both night and day. I always wanted you right by my side. I wanted you forever, now you're my pride. But God came a calling the 21st of November, that dark day I will always remember. As I stood beside your bed on that fateful day, trying to find the right words I needed to say. Now you're an angel up in the sky. I promise to love you till the day I die. For you will always be mine. Black butterfly, black butterfly. For you will always be mine. Black butterfly, black butterfly. One thing is true, I must confess. You're mind, body, and soul I wanted to possess. You came into my life, and from the very start, you rocked my world, and I gave you my heart. Your beauty and talent were beyond compare. When you entered the room, all everyone could do was stare. Men respect you and want to protect you. Women were envious and would often reject you. One thing for sure, no one will forget you. Black butterfly, black butterfly. The way you dance, girl, is like a dream. You move like liquid gold, or so it seems. Now that you're gone, all I wanna do is scream. Black butterfly, black butterfly. Kiss the days goodbye, no more worries, no time to cry. For that which is born is meant to die. For you will always be there. butterfly, black butterfly.
I'm gonna have Wyatt introduce you.
We would like to formally welcome Queen Quet, Chieftess of the Gullah Geechee Nation. She works hard to bring awareness of the Gullah Geechee culture to others around the world. Through the years, she observed a lack of knowledge about her culture and society. So she used her degree in computer science to create awareness of the Gullah Geechee culture. She spoke in Switzerland in front of the United Nations, and today she is a UN representative of the Gullah Geechee. Now we will share a dinner prepared by the Lowcountry Montessori students before joining in the last classroom for a few words from Queen Quet. We graciously welcome to our academic home, Miss Queen Quet.
Just a little while longer, hold on. Just a little while longer, everything might be alright. Oh, the children fight on. Just a little while longer, fight on. Just a little while longer, fight on. Just a little while longer, everything might be alright. Until everything might be alright. Morning, everything might be alright. Well, good evening, honey children. Okay, then, let's try that again. Good evening, honey children.
Good evening.
How are the children do this evening? You ain't hardly know anything like that because you used to the people that crack your teeth like this year, yeah, ain't it? Now tell them. And I get this year, like go study them? No? Wanna know what this shit up? Language that up. Wait up. Gullah. Geechee. Okay, that's why I want to tell nonsense, tall, and things like that. Everybody say, ¿Qué pasa? ¿Cómo está usted? Je parle français. How y'all? All right. I knew something in there would work. So yes, very happy to be here at a school named Lowcountry, of course, because we are in what people refer to as the Lowcountry, but the Lowcountry is part of the Gullah Geechee Nation. So you will hear the Carolina, Georgia Lowcountry, you'll hear the Coastal Empire, you'll hear the Golden Isles, you'll hear the Sea Islands, all of the area from Jacksonville, North Kakalaki down to Jacksonville, Florida, anything like that, and 30 to 35 miles inland to the St. Johns River. All of this is the Gullah Geechee Nation. And I'm the Chieftess and head of state for the Gullah Geechee Nation. So I'm used to getting the look y'all gave me a little while ago when I'm in a trunk down like this, y'all think like that. Okay. Because unless I'm amongst the native Gullah Geechees from the region, I often get the lean-in and the look. Okay, if I'm speaking my native tongue. But that is because many people who move to this area read about it, come, vacation, play. I heard some of y'all play that game that we can't eat those white balls. Golf. And then they go, oh, we gotta go back. We gotta go back again. Then they can't leave. But they get here to this area and then they start wondering, why is it called Lowcountry? Until a flood comes. Then they go, oh, the land is low right here. Yeah, we're technically below sea level. That is a technical term for letting you know that. So just in case you just enrolled your children in and never realized, when they come home wet, you know now why, right? All right. Yeah, the low country school. But so here it is that many people who even grew up here never stopped to think about it. Never stopped to think about the terminology. Same way they never stopped to think that by visitors coming, those visitors would become permanent residents. And if too many people came, that meant somebody had to go. And unfortunately, that caused many Gullah Geechee people to get displaced. And the ones who are here, they usually just try to remain in the group without being identified. So they'll code switch. So even if you heard them talking to me, like say if me and Miss Taylor was somewhere, and we were talking, and y'all saw you heard a different language, and you walked up, you suddenly hear English, it would be because they saw you coming. But if they see me coming, they'll speak their native tongue, because they won't have to lean in and look like y'all did me a while ago. They'll understand it. But so, one of my favorite things to do in the world is to read, but also to write. I wrote the books that you see here, or was a contributing writer or an editor on books that you see here. And I've been reading since I was 3 years old. Don't worry about how old I am now, that ain't your business. All right. And so, I've been reading for quite some time, and writing for quite some time. But I realize that reading and writing means nothing if you don't understand what you're reading. And sometimes if you're writing, you might understand it, and other people give you the look now when they read it. What do you mean by this? Okay? That's why you have people called editors, because they go back through a writer's work and look at it and say, well, wait a minute, I think I know what you wanted to say, but it sounds right to you, but we wouldn't write it like that. And they'll write it in a way that'll make it more accessible to everybody. And that's what you want. So our culture has become a thing like that, but on the bad side and on the good side. Because there are some who've accepted our culture so they can take advantage of that culture, exploit it, and cause more reasons for the people not to be here or for the culture not to be received by others because they thought they could edit it and change what it really was. And on the good side, there are folks who said, no, you don't do that, because this is their living experience. That's what we need to know, and we need to know it from the people that live that experience. I don't think this guy could tell me, you got children?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that one belong to you next year?
Yes.
I don't think you could tell me what it felt like for him to come into the world.
Nope.
Right? However, is this mama?
Yep, I could.
I think you could tell me, right? So, you don't have no slight on him. But that's not his story to tell, right? But it sure is hers. And any of us other ladies could appreciate her story if we're mommies. But we also have our own journey, our own experience, right? And it makes it so much better when you get the story firsthand. When I was little, for some odd reason, they would tell us, get it from the horse's mouth. I said, well, who are we talking to, Ed? Because I'm talking horse, you know? Like, what do you mean get it from the horse's mouth? You know? Like, get it from the person. That's what they meant. Get it from the source of the information. Don't, you know, look on Twitter and believe everything that's on there. You know what I mean? Don't, you know, just because somebody's Snapchatting about it, it doesn't mean that that's really what the person was doing this for. Unless it's that person that's Snapchatting, right? Then you gotta watch some people because they just like the storytelling. Okay? So here it is that people started writing about Gullah Geechee that weren't Gullah Geechee people. So when this information got out, academics would quote it, newspapers would quote it, and we'd read it and go, who's this about? Oh, it's about your people. It ain't about my people. But they said these are people on the island. I don't know what island that is, but that's the island I'm from. I'm from St. Helena Island, and nobody acts like that on St. Helena Island. Nobody acts like that on John's Island, Wadmalaw, Stopaloo, Sandy, nowhere. than I've been. Really? Yeah, really. And then as I started reading what others wrote about my people and the way they edited it together, I had to edit their work. And I now had to begin to critique their work and evaluate their work because it was the outsider's perspective. And they took on this term that we were talking about before this all began, expert. And called themselves experts on our culture. And when I would actually finally get to meet some of these people, I said, well, I understand that you wrote a book about it. Oh, yes, that was my doctoral thesis. Oh, was it now? So tell me, how long did you live amongst the Gullah Geechees? I spent about 3 weeks there. 75. Oh, really? And it's now 2000, and you think what happened in 1975 is still going on in 2000, and then not to mention you spent how long? 3 weeks. And you become the expert? Then how about people who've been in the same place for over 300 years? Who have a collective consciousness that still live on the very same land that their ancestors were brought to after being kidnapped and captured from what we call our Gullah, that you've been taught to call Africa today. Placed on the Sea Islands and remained on the very same lands where our ancestors had been enslaved. And then a big shooting thing like that ever started, or as y'all call it, the Civil War began, or as the Southerners say, the War of Northern Aggression started. Here it is that the same people that were called chattel and listed as property now became property owners. And so when people say to us, well, what seems to be the problem? We don't understand why you won't just sell. Well, that means we're selling our legacy, our history, and it feels like we're now auctioning our family. Our land for us is family. And these waterways out here are our bloodline. So for me, whenever I'm working on the land or I get a chance to get in a boat and get out on any of these creeks or in the Atlantic Ocean, I can just feel the energy of my ancestors there. And those are those voices that come through those songs called the spirituals, which were created on these sea islands and are now the official music of the state of South Carolina. I'm also a self-taught dancer, so I love music that has lyrics. So even as I heard her singing, I was back there already choreographing a dance. And I was like, well, I got to get this CD. I won't throw her off tonight. You know, we just met. I don't want to take her spotlight or nothing, you know. But I could already feel it after the first verse. I was like, oh, we can do this. Yeah. So that's the thing. Music for my ancestors always helped to lift them. But just like her song, the spirituals tell you a story. And they're usually scriptural stories, but scriptural stories that my people could use to thrive and survive even in the hardship of enslavement. And so then, when the war started and nobody was in Beaufort County at all but us, we had songs of celebration and shouting. And it was here now, never expecting to come another time to fight. But this time to fight for your culture to continue to exist, fight for it to be represented correctly, fight to hold on to your land that your ancestors left you, and now fight to make people even realize the other onslaught hitting the coast now we call climate change. Flooding, erosion, ocean acidification, all of these things that now stuff used to come at us after the bridges came in the 1930s and 40s. Bridges started coming around this coast. When the bridges started connecting our sea islands, because yeah, believe it or not, you couldn't drive on the Ladies Island from Beaufort. The little piece y'all annexed in and called it Beaufort now, that's Ladies Island, okay? You couldn't drive onto St. Helena Island. Even in my mom's lifetime, you couldn't do it. Had to get on boats and cross Chalmers Creek. You had to get on a boat, go up the Beaufort River. All right, if you were going to Savannah, you got on a boat and you went to Savannah. Okay? So we're quite comfortable not having bridges. No insult to y'all who love your SUVs. I mean, y'all call them SUVs, right? Okay? All right, something to you. But people always say, well, my God, what do you do? I mean, y'all live there and all these storms are coming now. I'm like, storms aren't just coming now. Storms have been coming for hundreds, thousands of years. So what do? We pray and we stay. And we've survived. But that's because our people know how to survive because of all we've been through and the collective consciousness and having family members live to be 100 years old who can tell you what they did 50, 60, 70 years before, and you taking it in. But it takes you being able to pay attention. So when they said to me, this Montessori school would like you to come to a dinner to have. I was like, where is that? Oh, it's here in Beaufort. I said, I thought they closed down. I said, because the Montessori school asked me to come before, and then the next thing they said they closed. I said, no, this one's in Beaufort. Well, where are they? Y'all back up in these woods. Ain't nobody knew y'all was there. So I said, well, that's interesting. Because it would have took me being an adult before I even knew Montessori schools existed. But this is not my first time speaking in one or for one. But when I learn about Marie Montessori, I think about survival. Because when you think about the time frame in which she was born, 1897, right? Look at what was happening for women. Not a whole lot. Right? You could be mommy. But a little girl ain't supposed to aspire to be a teacher and an engineer and a scientist and to think these things out. You're just supposed to be, you know how to go. That little lady. Right? Has petticoats and everything. And trust me, I'm going to petticoat tonight now. I'm that person. I'm that girl. Okay? With the dress, the heels, the whole 9 yards. But at the same time, I can't think. So when I looked at her life, I said, you know what? I guess that's why over these years, every time I was introduced to a new Montessori school, I looked at that school's history and I could see something. But then I said, well, it's such a new school. They don't yet have that whole long history that some of them have. But I looked at her story. And I said, man, her have a lot in common. We could talk if she was still around here. I studied engineering too. Schools wanted me to attend. They were throwing money at me. Yale, Harvard, Virginia Tech. It was like, come, go to our school, go to our school, go to our school. I'm the person that won the most scholarships ever in Beaufort County school districts. No one's ever broken my record. So I was wined, dined, all that good stuff by them. And I said, no, leave me alone. I went to Fordham University, majored in computer science and mathematics. So when you heard in my bio that I used that to teach people my culture, I still do that up to today. And I love science. And this year, I had the blessed moment of having students volunteer with me, because every March is Gullah Geechee Volunteer Month. And these were college students. And we were trying to finish up digitizing some things and organizing some things to get digitized from my archives. And these other folks wanted to go to lunch. We said, go have lunch. And they were like, oh, okay, y'all are good. Well, fine. So the three of us that stayed behind all had studied engineering. And to us, there's certain things that go with other things, and there's a pattern to these things, and when you complete that pattern, your job is done. You don't jump out of the middle of it because there's food. Okay? So, and we all were like, why? And because they kept sending like little scouts. But are you sure? Y'all okay? Because we're eating. We're like, go eat. We know what eating is. We'll eat when we're ready, right? And so then I said, what are y'all majors? Engineering. So the night when I looked at that, I said, right, there's a way that engineers think that's very holistic, actually. It's not compartmentalized. And a lot of the regular educational system in Beaufort County and other places is that linear, compartmentalized. Science is here, arts over here, sports is over there. You see what I mean? English class is there. Everything else is, okay, is it on the curriculum? Does it meet the state standards? Okay, we don't teach that because we don't have to. So we don't necessarily teach about Gullah Geechee. That was never taught when I was in school. Never. Because they were taught, the teachers were taught, to be Gullah Geechee was to be backward in English. because even the African-American teachers weren't necessarily Gullah Geechee. They'd come here from other places. So I'm going to talk down like this, and like that. What is that you're speaking? You're not supposed to do that. Who says? That's not proper English. It's not English at all. But the teachers weren't educated enough to realize that and respect that. They needed to begin to understand something other than their own culture, their own individual experiences. So I'm very happy to find y'all off in these woods, knowing that there are folks who not only want to begin to do what I like to refer to say, overstand other people's culture, their traditions, their language, and why it exists, and why is it in this place called Beaufort County, South Carolina, but also to know that you want to work with a unit of people that I work with from around the world at the United Nations. To know that you have students going to the Model UN while I go to the real one. So that when folks hear, well, there are folks from Beaufort County, South Carolina, it's not always like, what, where is that? But they would kind of get used to it and say, you know, I was in Model UN with some kids back 15 years ago. They said they had come to represent Beaufort County, South Carolina. That lady was a queen there. You see? And they did talk about this culture they had. Or they go to you, do you know the queen? Because I heard her. She said it quickly, I know her, yeah. She like looking like, let me show you the picture. So it is a wonderful thing to be in my home county. And as I was saying, we were talking about it beforehand, how, Miss Mary and I were talking about how when I would come back from the UN, and the paper used to publish it, they don't anymore, you get press releases, they just go out, right? But they would publish it and everybody, especially on St. Helena, yeah! You know, people kept it, yes, that's us! And so then it's like, yeah, but y'all, come on, get involved, help. You know, get involved, don't just get excited, but get involved. So it's great to know that even at an early age, many of you want to be like Marie. You want to get involved. You want to do some things that maybe somebody else around you isn't doing. Maybe they tell you you can't even do it because you're too young, you're a girl, or, well, I wouldn't do that. So, you're not me. That's all down, all throughout your life. Somebody's going to say, if it was me, well, you're not me. That's the response. Because the individual journeys are different. So there's something you can see, something that might inspire you that bores me to death. And vice versa. But don't let anybody take you off track. And I think that's why I love the statement that Marie Montessori said, that's on your website too. The essence of independence is to be able to do something for oneself. If that doesn't sound like a Gullah Geechee quote, I don't know what does. Because whether other folks were here or not, we worked these lands. We built up what is Beaufort County, literally with blood, sweat, and tears. There were not many overseers in Beaufort County. It was largely a caste system run by other African people called drivers. So you have African people that built what has now become the very infrastructure of not only Beaufort County, but the entire region of the Gullah Geechee Nation, which then made the wealth of what became the colonies. And so here it is, that people rewrite the story and make it look like somebody came and taught us something. We're like, are you kidding? African people were scientists before you kidnapped them. They were architects before you kidnapped them. They knew how to engineer before you kidnapped them, hence why they can't figure out how to do the pyramids. But all this stuff we know now. So we could do things for ourselves. Because it was to honor ourselves and our legacy and our story and our families and to keep our families alive and to thrive. We always do for ourselves. My mom came here tonight, and if there's anybody I can tell you, preach that sermon, that's her. She would always teach us, know how to do something for yourself. She showed you 1.5 times. and then say, oh yeah, go do da-da-da. And when you think she's not watching, it's almost like she had a peephole in the door or something, because she just know, nuh-uh, go on back, start over. Because you just didn't do da-da-da, you missed this step. I'm like, well, if you told me step 1, 2, 3, we don't do it like that. Just go on, do it like I showed you. That's the way to teach in the Gullah Geechee community. And so I've learned to do for myself, but doing for yourself is doing for an entire family compound of people, which means doing for an entire community, doing for a circle. It doesn't mean just you one. So when I go this year, next month, again to a UN event, COP22, which many people working on climate change issues may have read about, heard about. It's this massive conference with all these nations of the world with high security, so not just everybody can get accredited and all that. I got accredited. I got multiple invitations to come and speak, but then nobody sent a plane ticket. Nobody sent a hotel ticket. What is that? You just invite me like, oh, we don't have no funding, but we want you to come. So I love y'all. You know, so it's been great to even see now. We started a crowdfunding campaign a few days ago, in fact, and yeah, I have a little poster for your school in there. And people started giving, and I was shocked to see who knew about it and who decided to give. But then it was like, I'm a firm believer in you speaking things into existence. And I've spoken about the circle so much, and that circle of mine being international. And my classroom, where I go in and out of to teach, that I don't have to stay in any one building at one spot. That has been amazing to see the plethora of people that I see names popping up, tweeting this now, or actually making a donation and saying, thank you, you changed my life, I'm glad you're going to do this. From students to like major folks, authors and other people and environmentalists that are putting donations. I'm like, wow. It really makes you know your living is not in vain. So even at those little moments that you might not get all the likes you want on Facebook, I know y'all say Facebook, we don't use that no more. You know, or you might not have all the Instagram followers that you like. Okay, somebody unfollowed, all right? Trust me, that doesn't mean that nobody's looking. Because people are looking just when you don't think they are. And they're watching to see if what you speak is what you live in yourself. And they want to know your story. And so it's a blessing to know somebody, we want to talk about merit, was watching and heard about Gullah Geechee culture, found my website, and then she had, she made a mistake of telling her. And after she told her, she told this one, and then they were all like, oh, okay, we get her to come over, back off in the room. So I said, well, we'll see. But they did it early enough on that it was a date that was locked in there. So I was like, I think I'll be able to make that one. And so it's good to know that there's another circle here and to be welcomed into this circle. And so we'll be able to continue to share stories on this journey and to learn more about the work you're doing with the UN model, and then me being able to talk about the work I'm doing with the UN. And God willing, we can all start to broaden the circle of understanding of how to get involved, don't just chill us on, get involved here in Beaufort County, because we need more of that energy. We need people to stop being online activists. Because that is about getting on the last nerve now. People think that if they just share what you wrote, that's all they're supposed to do. If we said it's a rally, we need you to share it and come out with people. Okay? If it's a fundraiser, donate, then share. Don't share and think about donating. You know, share and then send prayers. No, share, donate, activate, and move. So we need that. So I'm very happy. Mm-hmm.